right, Chandler, thank you very much. History has been playing out as the impeachment inquiry into President Trump is documented by public hearings live on TV.
On Wednesday, 2 career diplomats gave testimony to the president's dealings with Ukraine. Eyewitness News reporter Jan Carabeo is live in our news center with new information. Jan.
Jim and Janelle, Bill Taylor and George Kent were the major players yesterday. They testified before the House Intelligence Committee for more than 5 hours. Now, the pair insisted they are nonpartisan career public servants working to advance U.S. interests, and they told lawmakers they became increasingly alarmed over an effort to pressure Ukraine into investigations that would benefit President Trump politically.
Do you swear or...
The top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, William Taylor, opened his testimony with a new detail yesterday that a member of his staff, David Holmes, overheard a phone call between President Trump and EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland. Taylor told lawmakers the president asked the ambassador about the investigations.
Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden.
President Trump on Wednesday denied having that conversation with Sondland and dismissed the testimony as hearsay.
All third-hand information, nothing direct at all. It can't be direct because I never said it.
A line reiterated by Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee.
You didn't listen on President Trump's call and President Zelensky's call?
I did not.
You've never talked with Chief of Staff Mulvaney?
I never did.
You never met the president?
That's correct.
This is what I can't believe, and you're their star witness.
This, the first public hearing of the impeachment inquiry, follows more than 100 hours of closed-door testimony with 15 witnesses. But a number of administration officials have refused to appear, ordered by the White House not to comply.
I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
While House Democrats say Wednesday's hearing helped build their case that the administration withheld U.S. military aid to pressure Ukraine to open politically motivated investigations, Republicans argue the aid was released and there was no quid pro quo. Now, public hearings continue on Friday when Marie Yovanovitch will testify. She served as U.S. ambassador to Ukraine for nearly 3 years before being recalled by President Trump. Jim and Janelle, back into you.
Thank you, Jan.
And you can watch tomorrow's live coverage of the testimony right here on CBS 3. We'll also be streaming the hearings on our website, cbsphilly.com.